Teddy here. Sorry I'm over a season late with this. If I can be completely honest here on how the fridge I've been as of lately, well, as you can see, now, as you can see when you're watching this, well, I'm in a different room than I've ever been before. Past vlogs I've done, I would normally be downstairs in the basement. Starting as of this one, here I am in my room. Yeah, if you're ever wondering what's all this talking in the background, well, that's because, like I was saying, construction is happening here in my house. Anyways, you may be wondering how the fridge I've been as a content creator as of lately. Well, to tell you all the truth, first off, let me ask you this. Do you miss casual reviews, bearRimshot? Because if you do, guess what? I finally finished up my entire Disney movie marathon for casual reviews, bearRimshot, the top 11 dumbest Kingdom Hearts moments. So now I am ready to play through every single Kingdom Hearts game that is already out up to this point. Starting from the first, going all the way up to Melody of Memory, I will say. And yeah. Telling one what's been happening with parodies as of lately, well, I did progress with, I did do some editing for the Vanellope Meets Disney Princess's Cusco dub, which for the record will still happen. However, it's been decided that I'm going to be taking a break from that at the moment, but instead, I'm currently editing a steamed haste on Disney villains, which I will release on Halloween night as a Halloween treat this year to celebrate just in time for the 20th anniversary of Mickey's House of Villains. And yeah. And if I can be honest here on whether or not I'll like it or not, yes, it still will be. However, and now let's see who won for my annual review. Just hold on 1 second, please. From setting up something else that will have yet to be addressed later, and you'll see what. Let's nab it. Weird. Come on. Okay.
It's me, I made it, despite your directions.
Okay, then. Sorry about that, people. Just setting up something which, yes, will be addressed later. Okay. Okay, then. Here we go. Now, let's see who are the winners for not only my 4th annual Viewer's Choice, but also Mark Ellie Memorial Viewer's Choice. So, here we go. The winner for most requested Disney TV girlfriend doing a transformation parody of would be Gadget from Chippendale Rescue Rangers. The winner for a non-Disney girl, the majority of you wanted to see me do for an transformation parody would be Wonder Woman. Well, it's funny you should not bother. Well, no, none of you have participated in this poll voted for Peach, because Peach's transformation, I will say, will be released based on something you'll find out later. As for the winner from Most Wanted Steamed Hams dub, well, whether you believe it or not, it's a 3-way tie between, actually, 4-way tie between Ed, Edd n Eddy, Metal Gear Solid, Lazy Town, and Mr. Code and Friends. If I had to pick one out of the 4, well, looks like I'm gonna be doing Lazy Town. What about the rest? Well, Metal Gear Solid, Steamed Hams Metal Gear Solid dub, I will do as part of Thank You Sakurai season. Mr. Code and Friends, I'm hoping to do just in time for the 10th anniversary of Casualty's bearRimshot. As for the winner for Most Wanted Walt era Disney Girlfriend doing a parody of Snow White. Okay. The winner for Most Requested Eisner era Disney Girlfriend to do for an illustration parody. It's a 2-way tie between Jasmine and Pocahontas. Think I'm gonna go with Jasmine. As from the winner for Most Requested Iger era Disney Girlfriend to do an illustration parody of Rapunzel. Okay, then. And if you're ever wondering what's this Thank You Sakurai season I just talked about, well, to tell you all the truth, now, what can I say other than I love to play video games? I especially love playing Smash. So to give you all an idea what to expect, what I do for Thank You Sakurai season, well, would include Steamed Hams dub based on Metal Gear Solid, an illustration parody starring Princess Peach, and a Vanellope meets Disney Princess dub also starring Princess Peach as well. So, yeah. And now, oh boy, do I have a lot of things to address here as usual. First off, let's start things off with a bang by recapping certain things I've talked about last year. Back during back when the new year just began last year, I engage myself in a discussion regarding Jaimitude. Why the fridge? What I want to call him out? Well, now if you may recall, 2 years ago I publicly apologized for this one thing you all know I said wrong about Morgan Ledger back in 2018. However, it would come to my understanding that Jaimitude on his end, ever since that has happened in 2020, that it can come to my understanding that Jaimitude, well, something about me is bugging him. Not sure. We don't know what is bugging him. However, I always assumed that it's bound to be, and for obviously for the wrong reasons, possible, well, three things. The first, or should I say the most likelier one of what could have triggered Jaimitude on my behalf would be, well, now as you all can kindly see in recent memory, I've been pretty harsh on Morgan Ledger. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy what he does as a content creator. It's just that, if anything, if I can be a human being, it's where Morgan needs to learn to just grow up, because the way how he continues to treat me is just getting all childish. And no, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with, say, for a content creator or me, otherwise I like to not be my friend. I mean, it'd be one thing for a content creator I may otherwise support to not want to be my friend for any reason. At least with Animat, how he can be such things about me, at least, with Animat, he does have the capability of accepting others or who they are when he needs to be. Especially when it's people like me who are different. Morgan, on the other hand, well, if what I'm hearing is true that Morgan does indeed have autism, I guess you could say that Morgan clearly knows how to be such a Chris Chan with me when he wants to be. Another thing that could have also triggered Jaimitude would be regarding something I said to Mr. Code on Twitter back in 2020. For those who don't know, back in 2020, Mr. Code did some things to me that really was out of line for him to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can be honest how you feel, but, there's a good reason why I can never apologize for wishing light on Robin Williams. Because, when it comes to the day that Robin Williams died of all things, death is no joke, And when you see me wish light on Robin Williams of all people, it wouldn't be like he's Hitler of all things. Far from all that. I mean, it's one thing to get into a disagreement with me on something, but when you tell me that I should be ashamed of having said a different opinion like this, then go block me and then go call me a lunatic, it's all unprofessional on how the way you... It's all childish things that Mr. Coe did. But, yeah. And the third possibility what could have triggered Jaimitude would be, after certain events did continue to happen like this to no end, I always sensed that this one clinician I once had in my life, who I don't see anymore, for the record, has gotten a way to put him down. No, not Mr. Ben, but rather another one who I will say I've been pretty disappointed to work when I had throughout the beginning of my post-high school life. Yeah. That'd be one named Ethelinda who, let's just say, can be misunderstanding what she wants to be. Good thing I don't see her anymore. For those who don't know where the fridge I'm going in this, well, something I often see happen mostly on the people from the entire Cinema Royale alumni community would be, well, it can be kind of for people like them when they want to. They would let any major enemy on to go put them down surrounding me one way or another. Not only can that be true for Izuchi Guardian, but also Mr. Ben, Ethan Brown, Mr. Harden, and Wheatley, all of whom came out to go blow their brains out. Well, speaking of which, in spring last spring, I did get into a discussion about Wheatley, funny enough. And as you can clearly tell when you've heard me talk about him, especially back in spring 2021, I grew really, really infuriated with the way he treated me in life, you know. And when you all hear me call Wheatley as a retard, I just don't feel he's just stupid, you know. He can be one of those people like them who really, as you can tell when you guys get to know him, just simply brainlessly has no idea what he's saying and what he's doing to me, you know. Always starting up drama, you know. And we're being honest where I am with Wheatley, I will say. I'm being honest where I stand here. Wheatley in recent memory, I'm done with him. I don't care whether or not I make it into an entire blocked list, because if y'all thinks he keeps acting like this while engaged with me, I'd rather not talk to him anymore. Wheatley, he's a lunatic. Let me tell you that. And then, fast forwarding towards summer 2021, I started up a discussion regarding Mike Mixtape. Yeah, when it comes to Mike Mixtape in recent memory, if you hate people like Azuchi Guardian mostly for the way people like him, for example, would treat me in life, then you will hate on Mike Mixtape mostly for being like that with me. And I will admit, it is pretty sad for me to say about Mike Mixtape of all people, because now the reason why I called him a faggot back in 2020 is because when it comes to Mike Mixtape, either way, he can be really, really sketchy, you know, when he wants to be, you know. Like, something that always bugs me about Mike Mixtape when you get to know him is he can be the kind of person who, let's just say, knows how to spread lies about stuff when he wants to and knows how to seek attention. And it really doesn't help either that when it comes to Mike Mixtape, well, he can be a crook when he wants to be. A much bigger crook compared to, say, Morgan Legend Heimtune, I'm sorry to say. You know, when it comes to Mike Mixtape, something that always haunted me about interacting with him is that he'd be sending out death threats when he wants to be. Hell, even Mike Mixtape himself is not afraid to admit how much he wants to murder me. No, really. It's true. I'm not gonna lie to you. How much Mike Mixtape always loves to send death threats to me. And, yeah, you know, I guess you could say that when it comes to Mike Mixtape, he flat out cried wolf himself on not enabling Azuchi Guardian, on hating on Azuchi Guardian, which I think he does, you know. And then, fast forwarding towards fall 2021, which is the last update vlog I did as I'm currently recording this, I talked about this one civil rights law that exists, which I will say did hit me home as much as it could. That is what I'm talking about, of course, of the ADA. Now, if you don't know what the fridge I'm talking about, you mean bring up the ADA. The ADA stands for the Americans with Disabilities Act. I talked about that one back in fall on purpose for, you know, I have autism, and I've dealt with people like them who cannot accept me as somebody who's part of the autism spectrum as long as I can remember. And if I can be honest, whether or not I have any vlogs coming up soon that aren't updated, any special vlogs coming out soon, well, I got two coming up, both of which are year-related, being 2021 and 2017. And, yeah. And now, let's get on with my steamed hams FAQ. Now, for those who don't know, ever since I've been fresh out of making Casual Reviews bearRimshot was a public apology, I've been putting out parodies, which I really love doing, to be honest. Now, something I would often get asked on behalf of those who do watch them, who do enjoy watching them, is how do I select voice actors? Well, basically, as you can see when you watch my parody work on Steamed Hams, that I knew that I want to make sure I could define the right talent needed. That's how we here at Macedo Productions have always been, as long as we can all remember, is we put talent first. So when it comes to hiring voice actors, I knew that I want to make sure that I can find the right talent needed to bring those voices to life, That's how I've always been in a nutshell. Not only for voice actors, but also animators, and whenever I feel like hiring an editor for some projects that I want to. Basically, we put talent first. And another question I knew that I would get asked about, and the answer would be, well, as you can see when you watch my Steamed Hams Captain Hook dub, which is the latest one I have up as I'm currently recording this, as you can see, when it comes to the Steamed Hams Captain Hook dub, you'll notice that for the first time ever since 2020 has passed with me putting out my update vlog for spring 2020, guilty enough on my end, I use your Guardian's face. Like, why the fridge would I do that? Well, simple. To recap on why I did so, something I always say in recent memory as I continue to mature for myself as I can would be, something I had to learn the hard way for myself is I get a lot of hate in life. I get a lot of hate in life, That's what, and regarding said troll, I felt like shutting up while using Azuchi Guardian's face would be one where I will say, whether you all believe it or not, I used to go to the same middle school from 7th going all the way up to 9th grade on my end, named Anik Banerjee. For those who don't know who I'm talking about here, he's not worth associating with either, As I wrote in the description below my Steamed Hams Captain Hook dub, I dismissed him as a lunatic. And for good reason, because Anik, as I called him out in the video, as you can see, I did use some clips summing up of how that, as you can tell, with the J. Jonah Jameson laugh and Peter Griffin going all, oh my god, who the hell cares, and when you have Ed from Ed and Eddie going all, what's that, the sound, it's the sound of no one caring, that's how myself, Nick, and Dante would all react when you all see of how that, when you guys see me do things like, not only filmmaking for that matter, but also game designing and songwriting as well, that I do such things like this all as nothing more than as a hobby, For what's so funny about when you hear me say that, of all things about myself, that I do things like filmmaking, game designing, and music arranging all as hobbies, especially summing up of how we wouldn't care about working for the government, is that, something I'm not afraid to admit about myself is I have a creative disability, Which is what I try to put out as much as I can. Like, what is this so-called creative disability, I may ask? Well, as you can see when you get to know me on how I handle my life as a content creator, whether you all like it or not, that I tend to be more nostalgia-oriented, if you will. That's why, as you can tell, I want to do things like not only filmmaking, but also game designing, too, as well as music arranging. I tend to do such things like this all as nothing more than just hobbies. And I literally mean Nothing more than just hobbies. And said creative disability I have, which is why, well, when I do songwriting, I tend to qualify myself as an arranger more so than I can be as a composer. For those who don't know, yes, y'all have heard this right, there's a difference between composing music and arranging music. Arranging music is where you get to rewrite music that already exists, whereas composing music would be writing music that already exists. Writing and composing, arranging would mean that we're rewriting music that exists, whereas composing would mean that you're completely writing something original. What I meant to say, but yeah. Whereas for how I handle my life as a game designer, all I would want to make are nothing but crossover fan games. But yeah. Now, when you watch my Steam Tams Captain Hooked Up, you'll notice that, yes, I did use the Ninja Guardian's face twice. The first time being to shut Onik up, considering what a mental lunatic he is. The second time being have him one of those so-called cod rituals like them who exist, who got to beat and out of his snap as a reference to the Avengers, as a Marvel reference. Avengers reference, you get what I mean. Now, as you can tell on how the Guardian can be in the past, and whenever I feel like using clips of his videos, well, there's a good reason why you all have heard me call him as a retard. He's just stupid, you know. When it comes to Zuchi Guardian, as you can tell, well, now, in the past, I have called him out as a pig, you know. That's because, you know, as you can all tell how I feel about having him touching upon casual reviews, I really did not like always hated what he did for casual reviews, up to the point that, well, it is what resulted in me in calling him out in the end of Casual Reviews bearRimshot was a public apology, you know. Now, the first time I used his face was to teach him a lesson on how, you know, he should be treating me, because as you can tell knowing what happened behind the scenes, well, I really didn't like the way he treated me back then. Oh, don't worry, I'm happy he doesn't do the same exact crap as he did back in, I don't know, before this whole pandemic began. Which, funny enough, I will address when I do my 2021 vlog when I have free time. But anyways, what should we call it? Oh, yes, right. However, Azuchi Guardian isn't all who got to be Snap, but also Jaime Tude, Morgan Ledger, Disney, Nintendo, MGM, and SEO. Like, why have them be put into a Snap? For Jaime Tude and Morgan Ledger, Harry Henry will get where he's going with this, but for those who don't know, in the past, Jaime Tude and Morgan Ledger did try to take down at least one video I did that involved used clips of their videos. Mostly with the case of Jaime Tude, as from my understanding, from what I can, as it can come to my son, he had one bad day with me back in 2018. You have no idea how neglectful I was with, well, you have no idea how neglectful I was with this one mistake I made back in 2018, I will say. Though it still doesn't change my mind how heterophobic and trollish and how much Morgan committed the crime of Holocaust denial. Long story in that, but yeah. And on top of that, on on top of that, and when it going and yeah, regarding Nintendo of all things, it should be no secret to us it would be no secret to us how much Nintendo can be such crooks when it comes to say when people like them think they could produce when us fans would do would say I don't know make fan games based on their IP when they want to be, you know. When getting to know the reality on Nintendo stance on fan games based on their IP when they want to be, well, okay, they may have carried such a long history in taking down fan games based on most of their IP, as they say, if you get the idea, but you know. However, I did watch a video on an episode of Digital Gaming addressing such things like this, where, well, to tell you the truth, thankfully for Nintendo, for some reason, they don't always they don't take down all fan games, but rather on a case-by-case basis. Like, you know, as you can clearly see for yourself, there are indeed fan games based on their IP like them that do exist that somehow, for whatever reason, don't get taken down by Nintendo. Doesn't seem to bother going after. Instead, fan games and fan projects like them that exist that Nintendo doesn't seem to go after, good for them, because here's the thing about that, because when it comes to Nintendo, you see, you know, like Disney, they help change the lives of many different people, you know? And, you know, people love Nintendo just as much as they do Sega. And, yeah, because when it comes to Nintendo, well, possibly they made a lot of great games. And possibly, the worst, and obviously the most worst offenders on games, on fan games and fan projects like them, the Nintendo and them don't seem to go after for some reason are mostly crossover fan games, like it's a Smash fan prod game. Which is funny Nintendo shouldn't go after, say, if someone wants to make a Smash fan game, because, as you can see, a lot of people love Smash, you know? And thank frickin' God on my end that I survived not falling under the trap. Being one of those content creators like that touching upon Nintendo IP for touching upon Nintendo IP, because like I was saying, I do things like filmmaking, game designing, and music arranging all as hobbies, as you can see. And yeah, when it comes to Disney, you know, same thing. And Jim too. When it comes to SEO, well, let's just say, you know, it can come to mind saying that there are to blame to get Westbrook staff members like them to go all Chrissy Trot on me. Also, long story on that. But yeah, I can, and yeah, and as you may have saw earlier in this vlog, in this recording, that I did try to address of how that, you know, as I was saying, you know, that there's a good reason why I've been very hesitant on believing when anyone say that everybody hates the Zuchi Guardian. That's because, well, to tell you the truth, something I had to learn the hard way how to summarize such realities like this is, I get a lot of hate in life, and I get a lot of hate in life. Okay, then. Like, if you watch my Steamed Hands Captain Hook dub right here, you may be wondering to yourself, where the fridge that I get an idea that what you saw this regarding said signs like this I have up that can summarize how much Azuchi Guardian enablers can do exist. Now, the first and the common sign that people can easily have while engaging with me is that I remember back during the beginning of my life doing independent living that I have engaged with people like them like this who think I'm a liar. Okay, then sure, you may not like everything I say, but that'll make me a liar. If anything, the only reason why you like to think I'm a liar is because, you just don't like hearing what I'm saying. Next thing, it makes me want to call you out as Chris Chan, point being for comments like, for trollish comments like this. And the same can also be said about if you're one of those people like them who think I would mean harm. That means you, Liquid. Yeah. Now, another sign I also put out on how I can tell if someone does indeed enable as your guardian. We want to hear anyone for that matter say that I'm gay, which, yeah. Unlike most other signs I put out, thank God not a lot of people would think that about me. And when hearing out how other people outside of your guardian be with my sexual orientation, it's funny that, that not a lot of people think I'm gay, because, truth be told about myself for the record, I'm not gay. I'm straight. For, when understanding the correct definition of gay scene, the correct definition regarding straight versus gay, well, straight would mean that you're someone sexually in love with someone with a different gender. Gay would mean two people falling in love with the same gender. Me personally, on the other hand, I'm technically nothing more than a male who is in love with women. So there's a lot of you people out there, even in other galaxies, can understand me. Well, you can tell it'll be a no-brainer that regarding characters who I will never do an actual period, let alone what we here in Mercedes Productions never like to, let's say, I don't know, be as a porn for. So, well, not only would there be characters like Lilo, Toadette, or an ice climber we would never let be as porn, and the same can also be said about Peanuts character, but also right up there with Lilo, a Peanuts rap, and an ice climber rap, and Toadette, and a Toad, Toad from Mario. We also never like to let characters like Mario, Luigi, Link, Ryu, Goku, even Animat, Mr. Coates, Under with the Camera, Morian Ledger, Jaime Tuden, Huey Toonmore in this as well. We would never let people like them be used as support. So before, it wouldn't be as funny as, say, I don't know, someone who's a female, typically speaking like a Disney princess, Starfire, Raven from Teen Titans, Mary Jane Watson, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Princess Rosalina, Zelda, and even Missy. You all get the idea how I can feel. And another sign I listed, okay. Fudge Nabbit. Another sign I listed on how I can tell you enable as your guardian would be, well, you see I always do things that nobody asks for. I mean, it's one thing I would consider doing things that not everybody's gonna like, However, when I hear comments like them, that brings me to your guardian flashbacks. That especially means you, Colin Drum. But yeah. Yeah, if you're one of those people who think I always like to do things nobody asked for, that means you, Colin Drum. You are as worthy being called out as a Chris Chan as much as, say, if you think I'm a liar, think I like to hurt people, because you're just saying that for, I'm just like with if you thought I was a liar and you think, like, to hurt people, I just said and did things in life that really didn't cater to your taste. Next thing you know, you'd go all Chris Chan on me for that. And then another sign I put up, you have issues with me in connection to my love for Rita Rabbit. It's not just Rita Rabbit for that matter, anything for that matter that meant to cater from younger girls, like My Little Pony and stuff like that. Now, this is never meant for me to say that, oh, you can't hate on Rita Rabbit, nor My Little Pony as well. I mean, you can say what you will about Rita Rabbit, but, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I most certainly have nostalgic memories playing that game as a kid. Right up there with Clue Finders, right up there with Jumpstart and Living Books catalog, and Mario and Sonic. But yeah, and when it comes to My Little Pony, well, the fact that My Little Pony characters ain't gonna get out of Epic Battles anytime soon still doesn't change my mind that I'm still straight. Moving on. Yes. Another sign I put up on how I can tell someone does indeed enable Zuchi Guardian would be, well, you have issues with me pertaining to my love for Animat. Like, say, I did something Animat creatively, like, say, like I told it, like, say, I, felt like touching upon Animat in general creatively, like, say, do a show, whether it be doing a show inspired by him, like the Super Smash Brothers Files, or Video Game Look Back, or doing something, say, if I ever consider engaging myself and touching upon something, say if I ever engage myself in doing something with Animat creatively. Now, say if you're one of those people who think negatively about such things about me, then chances are, technically speaking, you'd be more of a Chrissy Trot enabler more so than you'd be a Zuchi Guardian. And yeah, and as you can see when you watch my Steven Ham's Captain Hooked Up, you'll notice that I didn't bother using Animat's likeness. I didn't use Animat to have him one of those so-called copyright trolls to be put right up with Morgan and Jaime too. Well, that's because with Animat, for whatever reason, from my understanding on how Animat can be whenever I feel like touching upon his content, as I was saying earlier in this video, that, despite Will not wanting to be my friend, which is fine with me, at least with Animat, like I was saying, he has proven himself from what I've seen that he does know how to treat his viewers with respect. At least with me, for whatever reason. Good for Animat for not trying to take down whatever content I feel like using that involve use of clips in his videos. I guess with me in particular, I do indeed play fair game, and when it comes to telling jokes that involve events like this, I feel like it would be funny. Though, funny story about that. Something I've been talks with as in this podcast I do. Well, I did mention that. Now, if you may recall, that I did mention that that I have ideas of 2 shows I wanted to do fully inspired by Animat, including Video Game Look Back and the Super Smash Bros. Files. This friend of mine there named Harry Shoemaker, he went all Chrissy Trotter on, unfortunately. And yeah, when Harry Henry and Caleb Corker watched my CNF's Captain Hooked Up, next thing you know, they will go all Chrissy Trotter on what I decided to do for Animat, as much as knowing how they can do with my love for Animat. Next thing you know, Harry Henry and Caleb Corker would do anything they can to go all Chrissy Trotter me. You don't want to do that, trust me. As for this other sign I put up being, you think Mike Mixtape done nothing wrong to me. Now, if you think I would lie about Mike Mixtape, then you are a Nazi whore, because when it comes to Mike Mixtape, yeah. He did things that rubbed me the wrong way so bad, it made me want to cut ties with him. However, when it comes to Mike Mixtape, as I was saying, like I was saying before, that he can be very well known for being sketchy with me when he wants to be, And another sign I put out on how I can tell someone does in fact enable Zuchi Guardian would be if you're one of those people who have issues involving the idea of me getting into video editing. Back in 2019, when it would have been said to be the last time Azuchi Guardian did a video, an Holy Updates video. Well, as usual, it can be confirmed to spread lies about me. You cannot believe every single thing Azuchi Guardian says about me. Next thing you know, I called him out as a retard for that, especially for spreading lies about me regarding when he wants to put it lightly. And it's kind of a shame that I got people like them who are not afraid to admit about themselves how much they do in fact enable Azuchi Guard for that. One person who is not afraid to, who did admit to me during that same time I did so. Same exact time that happened, where he did admit to me, there was this person who exists who is not afraid, who back in 2019, from what I can understand of him by now, he's not afraid to admit how much he lied about him not glorifying Azuchi Guardian, which it turns out he did. That is, I'm talking, of course, to someone named Tim Johnson. You know, when it comes to Tim Johnson, yeah. He's known for blackmailing me. It's kind of a shame that I have to be so hard on him again now when it comes to Tim Johnson. When it comes to Tim Johnson, he's a lunatic. So said troll he would be obviously enabling did originally enable back in 2018 would be one I know named Yara Wheatley. Yeah, when it comes to Yara Wheatley, he's not worth associating with. When it comes to me editing my own videos, it's a dream I had for a while. Moving on. Now, another sign I put out would be, well, on how I can tell someone doesn't in fact enable Azuchi Guardian is we get one of those people like them who think all my questions in general, because they're asking life, are pointless. Yes, I do love asking questions in general, but not all of them I would consider asking life in general are all pointless. And that is no different on how I can be when I engage with myself with, say, a famous celebrity who I may otherwise idolize. Now, here's the thing why I love asking questions in general. I'm just doing my job, wanting to be understanding of others, you know. And, yeah. And I'm not going to lie about myself when I say this, that there have been questions like them that I did ask in life where, you know, a point can be involved when I want there to be. Like this one question I did guilty enough to ask Jaime Tude back in 2014 regarding his thoughts on American Tail 5 of Ghost West. I'm not gonna lie about myself when I say this, that I did have good reason why I did so. That's because, you know, if you know Jaime Tude very well, then you know how he can be with Don Bluth sequels when he wants to be, especially what would happen if, say, if Universal on their end, which can be trust proven when, say, every single time Universal on their end feels like putting out a new sequel to Don Bluth's The Land Before Time. Yeah, because, yeah. And when it comes to American Tail 5 of Ghost West, it's said to be the least hated out of all the Don Bluth sequels, ignoring the likes of Bartok the Magnificent and The Rescuers Down Under. Why count those Don Bluth sequels some sort? Well, for Bartok the Magnificent, this is a spin-off of another movie Don Bluth directed, this time Anastasia, all things considered. Regarding The Rescuers Down Under, despite the fact that's a Disney movie we're talking about here either way, Don Bluth himself did get himself involved in working on the original Rescuers movie while working at Disney before he moved on to his own animation and making movies like The Secret of Nim, American Tail, and Before Time, and All Dogs Go to Heaven, you know? And, yeah. And when I hear anyone say that, that all my questions are just asking life are all pointless, I'm not going to lie about myself. I always find that to be really ableist for me to say, you know, point being. another sign I put out would be that I can't change my mind in life. Well, just like with every other artist out there, past, present, future, like we as artists of any kind, whether it be filmmaker, reviewer, game designer, whatever, we all have to involve some sort. Oh, believe me, where there's a YouTuber like this that exists who does indeed talk about such things like this by the name of Dave Lee Down Under. And on top of that, but yeah, truth be told about myself, I have no problems changing my mind when I want to. Like, for example, for how I live life as a reviewer, as you can see, if you're smart enough to pay attention, I have no problem. Let's be real here. The only reason why Azuchi Garden would do anything to believe that I would call that ever since I fight him, I would name my review show either Tezuka or TV is really because you can tell that Azuchi Garden understands he's just buttered about the fact that he's just simply looking to judge me. Azuchi Garden just simply looking to judge me over. I mean, yes, as Azuchi Garden can clearly understand on his part, yes, I have no problems doing certain things different than how he would interpret my life as a review when I want to. Like, for how I present comedy, as you can see, as can be proven when I made the last episode of the show, I tend to be more clean like Animat, and yeah. And yeah. However, I have no problems changing my mind when I want to. Like, yes, back when I first considered working on my own review show, I did want to have it named after my real name. But then, by the time releasing the first episode of my review show, of Casualty's Branch Application being the Disney Infinity review, well, this is where it was decided on my end that I would call my review show Casualty's bearRimshot for the rest of its entire run. And Azuchi Garden on his behalf did in fact agree with me on this, but somehow he brainlessly forgot, And yeah. And yeah, when it comes to casual reviews of bearRimshot, yeah. Yeah, so you can tell guilty enough on Azuchi Guardian, caught in an OSHA violation. Kind of a long story. Well, for those who don't know, back in 2016, just in time for the 10th anniversary of Macedo Productions, I first created this strict majority rule, which when I did so, I created it as an OSHA violation. No, not OSHA violation. I created the strict majority rule as an OSHA regulation, I meant to say. OSHA regulation. Considering what has happened, considering what continues to happen, no end for epic battles for, Now, if I had no choice but to be completely honest, why bother making up the majority rule? Now, yes, Azuchi Guardian did play a part in this, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, but also, so did Ethan Brown and Mr. Harden as well, who really would do anything and everything they can to treat me as this artist who would do anything that involves talking down audiences, which in reality, well, they're just, looking to brainlessly insult me mostly for letting myself make creative decisions like this that, in reality, are meant to cater for a more younger audience. Like, we're talking, like, Disney and Nintendo getting too much screen time, as well as having video game hardware representation being portrayed where only Nintendo stuff can exist, as well as shows like My Little Pony and Sesame Street Code Disney World of Epic Battles, as well as stuff like having Cookie Monster get the most screen time out of all the Muppets, as well as how 100 Acre would be the RZ of Disney, as well as having Doomslayer be no-show while having my cousin, the Hazan sister, show up. And, yeah. As well as letting Animat go all ET on the nostalgia critic and the movie critic and narrative get my animation like Don Bluth reference. And that's that. And yeah. And to anyone wondering what's been going on with my 100 subscriber celebration at my local draft house in Yonkers, that's sadly canceled. However, that doesn't mean I won't be convinced there. I will at some point down the road. For now, I'm just gonna host some at my local Logan Dobbs Ferry. That's all I have to say for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a happy Easter. This is Teddy signing out.